Bibliophiles of the internet, my name's Adriana, and today I'm here to bring you my first book haul of 2020. It's my first quarter book haul, so it's going to cover everything from January until this last week in March. I won't keep you any longer than I already have, so let's just start talking about these exciting books. First up is Empress of Forever by Max Gladstone. I've been interested in Max Gladstone's work for a very long time, which was only solidified after reading his collaboration in This Is How You Lose the Time War, and this is actually his latest release. This is billed as a feminist Guardians of the Galaxy with a swashbuckling ragtag team of misfits fighting for independence in a war-torn future, which sounds pretty great. And it's also supposed to be queer as well, which, as you can imagine, is exciting for me personally. Next, we have The Deep by River Solomon, David Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes. I made a 5 reasons to read video about this absolute gem. It's an Own Voices collaborative Afrofuturistic novella that imagines a race of sea-dwelling people who evolved from the corpses of pregnant African women who were thrown overboard from slave ships. Because their collective history is so traumatic, all of their memories are protected by a historian, and this story follows the latest historian, Yetu. After that, the lovely folks at Bloomsbury Children sent me an arc of The Space Between Lost and Found by Sandy Stark McGinnis. This is a wonderful and heartbreaking middle grade story about Cassie, whose mom has always been very adventurous and larger than life, but when she's diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease, everything changes. Cassie tries to keep her mom happy while her dad has become very restrictive, and when her mom forgets Cassie's name, Cassie decides it's time to take one last adventure together to cross something important off her mom's bucket list. It's not Own Voices necessarily, but it's very closely modeled off the author's own experiences with one of her parents. Then, of course, I had pre-ordered Interior Chinatown by Charles Yu. I just finished this last week and it was brilliant. It's an Own Voices blend of contemporary and satire about a character named Willis Wu who's always played the bit role of the generic Asian man, but his ultimate dream has always been to become Kung Fu guy who's at the top of the social hierarchy. The story really plays with Hollywood tropes and Asian stereotypes as Willis tries desperately to become the protagonist in his own life. Another book I pre-ordered was The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper. This is an Own Voices queer YA contemporary story about Cal, who is a wildly successful social media journalist, and how his life gets turned upside down when his father is accepted on a groundbreaking mission to Mars. When Cal and his family move across the country, they are thrust into this reality show with all the other astronaut families and right into this media circus. Cal gets the impression that there's more to this mission than NASA is letting on, and he will try to use his influence and his voice to tell the stories that NASA won't. Another book I've waited on for a very long time is The Legend of the Fire Princess, a She-Ra and the Princesses of Power comic written by Gigi DG based on stories created by Noelle Stevenson. She-Ra is an amazing animated Netflix series about Adora, who is raised within this violent, militant organization known as the Horde, whose goal is to ultimately conquer all the surrounding kingdoms by force. But when Adora discovers this magical sword that seemingly allows her to transform into an all-powerful princess, aka the Horde's #1 enemy, it throws her entire life into question and she suddenly finds herself on the other side of this conflict. And another thing that She-Ra can do is heal corrupted runestones, which I believe this comic is about. Then I absolutely had to pick up volume 1 of My Androgynous Boyfriend by Tamiko. This series came highly recommended to me even before its English serialization. It's a cute romantic slice-of-life manga series about a girl who works in publishing while her boyfriend obsesses over fashion and makeup with the goal of making himself especially beautiful just for her. They definitely don't have a traditional relationship and her boyfriend is sometimes mistaken for a girl, but it doesn't really bother either one of them because this relationship is definitely the source of their happiness. It's not about queerness necessarily, but it is about challenging traditional gender binaries and gender roles, and I am definitely here for it. Then there was a great sale on romance books, and I picked up Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is a feminist historical romance set in 1879 England, where Annabelle Archer is a vicar's daughter and helping to fight for women's suffrage, and she is assigned by her university to recruit men of influence to champion their cause. And that's how she runs into Sebastian Devereux, the Duke of Montgomery, who is appalled by the suffragists and who represents everything Annabelle is against. Still, she finds herself attracted to him and vows to have her way with him and make him realize the error of his ways, no matter what it takes. Then I had also pre-ordered the first volume of Given by Kizu Natsuki. This is a queer music manga about Unoyama, a talented guitarist and member of the basketball club, but he finds himself feeling dispassionate about everything in his life as it is. Then one afternoon he runs into Mafuyu, a strange, sad-looking boy cradling a guitar with broken strings. Unoyama finds himself reluctantly falling into the role of being Mafuyu's mentor and ultimately begs him to join his band when he learns that despite having no musical experience, Mafuyu composes these truly incredible songs. It's extremely gay and angsty and wonderful, and I highly recommend both the manga and anime series. Another book I had pre-ordered was Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. This is a super fluffy, amazing contemporary queer romance comic about Charlie and Nick. One day they are assigned to sit next to each other in class and they find themselves connecting as more than friends. This installment is about their class going on a trip to Paris, which sounds super fun, and it's also about Charlie and Nick slowly coming out to the people in their lives and taking their relationship public. I haven't read this one yet, but I flipped through it and it looks so freaking cute. Then Penguin Teen kindly sent me an arc of A Phoenix First Must Burn, a YA anthology edited by Patrice Caldwell. This collection has been billed as Lemonade meets Octavia Butler, and it's a bunch of own voices short stories about black girl magic written by female and non-binary authors, which is not a grouping I care to use, but those are the facts. It has stories by Elizabeth Acevedo, Samaya Dowd, Charlotte Davis, L.L. McKinney, E.B. Zaboy, Rebecca Rowanhorse, and a ton of other great authors. I got roughly over halfway through this in February, and it's actually a pretty solid collection of stories. Then, the holy grail of this book haul, the folks at Macmillan and Swoon Reads sent me an arc of Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. If you haven't seen my wild, spoiler-free reading vlog where I get extremely emotional over these idiot boys, then you should check that out now because I'm going to be extremely obnoxious about this book up until and after its release. This is an own voices queer Latinx fantasy story about a trans boy named Yadriel whose entire family are brujex and they will not allow him to go through the brujo rites of passage, and their reason is because they aren't sure if it's gonna work. So he does the ritual himself and tries to test the waters by summoning the spirit of his recently deceased primo, Miguel, only to summon the wrong spirit. He ends up with Julian Diaz, the school's resident bad boy, who will not go quietly into the afterlife and fully intends to drag Yadriel into his unfinished business. Then I actually won a giveaway run by the lovely folks at Will Read for Booze, and they were giving away a finished copy of We Set the Dark on Fire and an arc of We Unleash the Merciless Storm, both by Taylor K. Mejia. This is an own voices queer Latinx fantasy duology about a society where women are either trained to run a husband's household or bear his children, and our main character, Daniela Vargas, is on track to marry the son of a very powerful politician. Dani appears to be in the clear, but when a resistance group discovers the truth about her falsified pedigree and forged identification papers, she is forced to become a spy for the resistance. Then I had also pre-ordered The Fire Never Goes Out by Noelle Stevenson. This is Noelle Stevenson's memoir. She is the creator of Mona Lumberjanes and showrunner of She-Ra. She is a queer artist I've been following ever since her Broship of the Ring series, and every year she does this comic retrospective about her mental health and life experiences. So that idea has been expanded upon in this memoir, which is a look at the highs and lows of being a creative person and artist. After that, I won another giveaway, this one hosted by the author, for an arc of I'll Be the One by Lila Lee. This is another one of my most anticipated queer releases of 2020. It's an own voices queer contemporary story about a fat bisexual Korean girl named Sky who dreams about breaking into the K-pop industry, breaking all the rules, and showing everyone that she doesn't care what anyone thinks. She finds herself on this internationally televised reality show competition where she is dealing with fat phobia, impossible industry standards, and online scrutiny, but she also finds herself in close quarters with Henry Cho, her fellow competitor and hopeless crush. And lastly, also sent to me by the author, I got an arc of You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This was also on my list of most anticipated queer releases. It's an own voices YA contemporary story about Liz Lightly, who's always felt too black, too poor, too queer, and too awkward to stand out in her small, rich, prom-obsessed town. She dreams of going to a prestigious college, playing in their orchestra, and becoming a doctor. But when her financial aid she was depending on falls through, all her plans come to a screeching halt, until she remembers that her school awards a scholarship to its prom king and queen. So she starts her campaign, throws herself into the high school drama and social media trolls, finds herself falling for a fellow running queen-to-be, and tries to remind herself that she swore to do whatever it takes. So there you have it. Those are pretty much all the books I've collected between January and March. Lots of exciting pre-orders, new releases, and blessings from the queer book gods. But I would love to hear which books you think I should prioritize first, so let me know in the comments. But that's everything I had for this book haul today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the flip side of the page.